Today's guest may not be a familiar face, but you will be familiar with his work. Please give a big Koit welcome to Daniel Fowler, aka Alien Red Wolf, creator of Willy Bum Bum. Hello, mate. How are you?
Very much. Cheers for having us, Coit. Yeah, it's been interesting kind of preparing for this.
Good stuff. So let's start with just an about you sort of scenario. So who are you? Where are you from? Go.
Sure, man. So my name's Dan Fowler. Born in near Manchester in England, a place called Preston. Moved to Australia, emigrated when we were, I was 4 or 5 years old, something like that. So grew up my whole life in Perth, but I've been in Melbourne now for the last 12 or so years. Around the time I made Willy Bum Bum, I moved over here. So yeah, about 12, 13 years ago, something like that.
Cool. And before we kick into the old classic of Willy Bum Bum, what led you to Australia?
It was just I think there was a choice between California or Perth, Western Australia was the two options my parents were tossing up. Landed on Australia and loved it here basically. I mean, it's all I've ever known, if we're being honest. I've got a few memories from back in England, and I've revisited England, many a time. But yeah, this is definitely home, and it was just a flip of a coin, it sounds like.
Oh, fair play. Then I need to ask you this obvious question about Australia. How many animals have tried to kill you thus far?
It's getting close to 47, I think.
Wow.
At this point.
Yeah, it's a high number.
As soon as you get past 40, it's you start to really kind of they're coming to get you.
What's genuinely the closest you've come with a thingy?
It's honestly not that bad. I'm just kind of
it is
adding to the stereotype. But I was swimming out to there was like a buoy kind of a kilometer out in the ocean. So we're all, let's just swim out to that, see if we can do it. Beautiful ocean, crystal clear. And we were all, of course, joking about sharks and that kind of stuff. The further you get out, just trying to trick each other and kind of enhance the mood a little bit. And then a bloody fin popped up 2.5 meters away from me where I was swimming. I was kind of second in line or something like that. It's just a dolphin. But my heart sank and, almost literally sunk as well. Like you just kind of get paralyzed because we're joking about it. So it's in everyone's head. And then a fin actually kind of pops up in front of you. And the surf guard came out and towed us all back on the back of it. Like he knew it was a dolphin. He's probably laughing to himself. But yeah, he came to the rescue and saved us from the dolphin just because we were all.
It was like a brown liquidy trail following behind you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There was you could see where we were on the map, definitely.
Ugh, scary things, Australia. Okay, so let's bang into Willy Bum Bum, so to speak. Not literally.
Sure. No, hopefully not.
The big topic, Willy Bum Bum. What's the story behind this monster?
It's honestly boring.
I'd rather hear it.
Yes, I'm a very silly person. Let's just put it that way. I remember specifically when, first of all, the tune itself is mediocre at best, and it's just copied off. And it's just a very simple kind of thing. But I had that stuck in my head. I remember specifically I was packing shelves at a grocery store. That was my job. And you have to pass the time somehow. You're not really allowed to wear earphones or anything like that. So I was just kind of humming that song to myself. And the very first lyrics I came up with were, I've got a little Willy, I put it in my bum. And the fact that that doesn't make sense in its own right made me laugh quite loud. I kind of lost it at that, just at the random thought that popped up. And it then inspired me to, first of all, get the keyboard out and write the actual song and just make up lyrics as I go along, basically trying to be as vulgar but funny, but children plus adults would appreciate it. Like just trying to be stand out somehow, I guess.
Well, that was going to lead into my next question, which was about the music and all the visuals and stuff. So did you do it all? So you did everything, yeah?
That's right. Yeah, the vocals, the song, and the lyrics, and the animation as well. Yeah.
Good stuff. So about the animation itself, what was your process there? Literally just drawing and then whacking into a slideshow sort of thing, or How did it occur?
Yeah, essentially, because you're right. It's very much a slideshow type of, there's a little bit of true animation in there, or what I would call true animation, like literally every frame something changing, an asshole opening, for example, whatever it needed to be. But generally, the thing was image, 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 image. Like that was the kind of idea I was going for. Made it a lot easier, but also, I don't know, added a theme to it a little bit as well in terms of style of animation or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, the song was made first, and then I layered it up. I think I was using Macromedia Flash at the time. It's now Adobe Animate or whatever. And then just chipped away at it image by image. It was actually, my mate had to tell me to finish the animation. I got halfway through and he was like, dude, this needs to be out there. You'll be the Willy Bum Bum guy. I was like, I'm not sure if that's, do I really want that? But in reality, it's opened up tons of doors, and it's been it's a tiny little piece of YouTube history in its own right, I guess.
But yeah, it was just prestige.
It was, no, not really. No, it was getting home from work and then being sick of this cartoon and getting home from work and just drawing dick after dick after dick. I was like, oh God, is this project going to end? It takes a while. You're an animator. I'm sure they're lengthy projects.
Yes.
So I almost gave up, but yeah.
So my initial question, another question then would be,
sure,
was it always meant to be an animation, or did you just think when the idea struck you in that store, it's going to be a song?
I was kind of silly the way I did it as well. I wasn't really all over releasing it to iTunes as a song or anything like that. I only did it kind of blew up through Reddit and 4chan and a bunch of stuff. But I only made it available on iTunes maybe 2-3 years after the fact, when it had already kind of, the meme was over or whatever.
Yeah.
But it still gets something like 250 to 330,000 plays a month on Spotify, something like that. So it's still generating a little bit of side cash kind of thing.
Yeah. Good on you.
No complaints. Yeah.
But the project itself, when you first came up with it, it was always meant to be audio and visual at the same time.
Yeah. As soon as I got that dumb idea and I was laughing, I made the song first. That probably honestly only took about a day or two. Write dumb lyrics that are easy. I'm a lyricist. I'm a rapper outside of this as well. So I always like playing around with words, and this is like the bare bones dumbest lyrics you can kind of get. Rum, bum. I'm just like doing kind of nursery rhymey kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that took a little, maybe a day or two, but the animation process was months and months, maybe years with a break in the middle. It took quite a bit.
Yeah. Was that?
But it was always intended to be a simultaneous music video and song. Yeah.
So 2 bits on the animation part then. It took a long time because you were bored of doing it, or you're lazy in yourself?
I come up with a lot of ideas. I'm very project orientated. So it was a project I knew I wanted to finish. We'll talk about it later, but there is a second sequel to this that it's a project that I just put on pause. However long the pause is, could be months or, a decade or more in this case. Yeah. But it is just the dedicating the time to it.
Okay, cool. And when you were making the animation itself, whilst you were doing it, did any of it make you laugh as you were doing it?
Yeah, that's the only way I would continue it. If I have to pause and slap my leg and giggle at how stupid something is, it means I'm doing the right thing. Or that's at least the humor that I want to get out there, whether people like that or not. But yeah, it's kind of for me, basically. And the fact that it got well known is just a bonus on top of that. But it's just a silly, dumb thing that, I don't know, it'd be fun to show people. I was just going to be for my mates,
Yeah, no, fair enough. The reason I asked that question was because it happens to me is I'll animate something and then I'll go back and watch it and it'll make me laugh, and I'll think, am I being weird here? Is it just me? And I'm glad to see somebody else is doing the same thing.
No, that's it. The world needs weirdos,
and
because everyone's weird.
Yeah, you're of that category then, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. The
and to
sillier,
prove that,
the better.
And to prove that, what are you wearing?
It's a new top I got. I got it from a lovely website called wish.com, I believe. It cost me
yeah.
about 28 cents, something like that. But yeah, very proud of it. It's gross and horrible.
It's beautiful, and it goes with your face.
Yeah, it kind of matches. Yeah, it's not too far off my horrible skin and hair anyway. So yeah, it feels comfy.
So you are wearing a skin of sorts. That's weird
A little bit
in itself.
Serial killer-esque. Yeah.
Yeah. And to branch out from there, actually no, before I go into the next bit, which is very similar to this, the fan reaction to Willy Bum Bum. So tell me what was the point at which it kicked off to go viral, or do you not know?
It was pretty turbulent at the start. It actually, I've had to recall a lot of stuff here. As soon as I put it up, it was up for maybe a day, and I noticed a spelling mistake in it. So I deleted it straight away. So but that's the one I linked to Reddit and things like that, because I was like, proud, I'm done, let's get it out of the way. But there was a spelling mistake, so I'm too kind of anal about that, no pun intended. But took that down, and then everyone in the Reddit thread or 4chan, I think it was 4chan, it's been deleted already. Everyone started complaining, they were going to make it a thing. It felt like they were trying to fueling it to become a thing. So people had already ripped that version because they had a feeling it would get removed anyway by YouTube. So they'd already copied that version. So I had to fix the mistake and re-upload it. That version got removed from Facebook and YouTube maybe a year after. And then I spent 3 months battling to just get it back online. And then the version that's still currently up, but you have to be, I think, over 18, have an account. It's all locked away or whatever. The URL still works, but I don't think it even shows up in search results. Yeah, it's kind of been pretty on and off, basically. If it gets deleted, I don't care anymore. It's not like it's no longer a passion project. Let's put it that way. It's just something that I happen to make and enjoy the fan reactions. And there's loads of covers and stuff that came up. That was one thing that I did. I just released the audio only without the lyrics for people to remix, and then the lyrics alone as well, like a cappella, so people could make their own stuff out of it. There's heavy metal remixes and live covers and all sorts of cool stuff.
So how long after you did that, you released the instrumentals and or the vocal tracks?
That was maybe about a year in, something like that. Maybe less than a year, something like. When I realized it was getting any sort of attraction, I did that as a random thing, and that maybe drove a bit more popularity to it as well, because everyone would then want to see what the cover is of. So that was just a fun little idea, but again, kind of spread the word. It's all about networking, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
damn straight. And what negative reaction did you get? Because there's always wankers out there. So what shit came your way?
Obviously tons of well, the main thing still to this day is I can't believe this is allowed on YouTube. My 11-year-old daughter will watch this. You must get similar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Like, it's totally inappropriate. It's kids are going to be watching this, and it just kind of I don't know. I don't see what the problem is myself. Clearly, I kind of laugh these things off, but I understand where maybe some concerns come from. If your kid's just 8 years old and randomly stumbling on, and they see these, grotesque kind of animations, it's, first of all, I think if they're a cool kid, they're just going to giggle in it because it's silly. That's my hope. But that would be the main thing, is just concern for parents, children's, a lot of that kind of stuff. But I've had loads of good responses as well. I've had people say it rekindled our marriage. We were in such a bad place, and we found this thing and we laughed together. Literally, I've had emails. Yeah,
that's quality.
Yeah. So it's reached a lot of people. A lot of it probably disgust and sadness, but there's some good.
So you're picturing that, right? A couple go into a room, and instead of putting on some James Brown music and getting jiggy, on goes Willy Bum Bum.
Yeah. He pushes her on the bed. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
That's the dream.
And in terms, you mentioned a little while back about Spotify and that. Has it been lucrative for you on Spotify, on iTunes, or wherever you've released the song? You don't have
Yeah,
to give
so
me actual figures, but is it
no,
been good
well,
for you?
I mean, I don't mind. Let's just say it pays rent still to this day. That's kind of the, you know,
Yeah.
it's nothing crazy, but it helps, you know.
Yeah.
But so I don't get paid by YouTube anymore. That was maybe 2, 3, 4 years in. It got demonetized because of the content. So maybe I think I put it on, you know, Spotify a little earlier than that, and then there was a little bit of a transition. But then any money since then has just been from the audio only. And I mean, I got this is something I wanted to bring up actually.
Sure.
I managed to get a Canadian book publisher deal.
Yeah.
So this brings in a tiny little bit of cash as well. It's just the cartoon, but in, you know,
In book format, yeah.
In kind of book form, like every second frame or whatever.
So what happened there? Did they approach you, or did you go to them?
No, yeah, they just reached out and said, you know, they're a, I wouldn't call them small, but they're a, you know, indie book publishing. You know, they've got lots of silly, it's all internet related kind of silly stuff. They're called Blank Space, by the way. And it was just a fun experiment for them. And they kind of helped me. They said, we want to release the book in 4 new languages as well. So there's a German, French, Portuguese, Spanish, I think a couple of other ones as well. So there's maybe like 6 versions of the book. And I've drawn the characters, you know, with a sombrero if it's Mexican or whatever. Like I've drawn it a little bit different. You know, just on the front cover, the whole book's the same, but yeah, just a different language. And it's a custom font as well, just based on my handwriting. So the whole, you know, that was easier for the translations. I just gave them the font and they could just type it in my handwriting.
Right. So on that basis, then, where can people who want to get access to that book, where can they get it from?
I'll need to I'll need to probably send you personally a couple of links or whatever. Honestly, well, as you know, this is cartoons over a decade old. A lot of my old website's broken. I don't really use it anymore. Like I stopped kind of doing a few of these things, you know, probably a decade ago when I started a different kind of career path. It's still in my heart, but yeah, I'll send you some links. And
yeah, send me some links. So people who are watching this, you'll be able to go right into the description now, and it will be there now. It's like magic.
Yeah. Magic, right? Right now, I suck and I can't tell you anything, but it'll be there.
But literally seconds after hearing that very comment, it will be there.
Yeah.
Oh!
There you go.
Mind warp. Okay, so I was going to branch into the YouTube censorship and how that's hit you, but clearly you've already said you're demonetized, so...
Yeah.
That's a pisser. And you say you had a fight with them initially because they took it down?
Yeah, I started I started a Facebook group called Save Willy Bum Bum, and it was just like a weird, you know, crowdsourcing initiative. It wouldn't have done anything. The YouTube doesn't go, you know, 7,000 people on this page said we should put it back. They're not going to. It was just just a fun. Why not? Let's get people talking about it. You know, there's another idea like that. And then miraculously, it's just the way I worded my. What's it called when you get demonetized? Appeal. You get to appeal your case. Yeah. I just did you only get a character limit on that as well. You get like a solid paragraph or something. And I just had to word that, you know, as honestly as possible, saying it's not meant to offend anyone. It's just silly, you know, crude cartoon humor. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just trying to be silly. And that basically worked, you know, but it's still demonetized. All right, we'll just hide it from everyone, but we're not going to, you know, take it down and kind of ruin your piece of art, I guess, if you want to call it that. It's
true, though. It's a sad state of affairs, or worse to me, that we had to do stuff like that, because that very same scenario I've gone through a number of times with,
of course, the
Winky Song and stuff. It absolute pain in the ass, but
that's the main reason why the second cartoon is taken so long. The sequel is taken so long. I don't think it's going to be suitable for, you know, YouTube, basically.
But you are going to try it there, though, yeah?
Eventually, yeah. I mean, it's halfway done. We can talk about this later if you want to. But yeah,
let's just. Well, look, we're on the topic. Let's go through it now. We might as well. Sure. So you don't have to give any secrets away if you don't want to on what the cartoon is. So tell us what it is if you want, or just give us a hint.
What I can probably say. So first of all, let's just say it's. I stepped it up a notch this time. So first of all, let's tell you. I'll start with some specifics, specs. It's a wide screen, so it's a double the size, so crisper quality and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a better animation to begin with. I upped the frame rate, so it's kind of smoother animations as well.
Yeah.
This time it isn't about small willies. I can say that.
Right.
It's about gigantic, dangling, somewhat colored penises, I would say.
Yeah, I know nothing about that.
No, yeah, neither. Yeah, I had to study a lot. It's no, I mean, I may as well say it. It's no longer a white character anymore, and I've gone along with a classic stereotype. And
I see what you mean. Yeah,
I've gone in the other direction with this one. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
and it was a lot more fun to animate. I'll tell you that.
And the song itself?
The song's more. So I'm a hip hop artist, or I try to be. I'm not climbing any charts or anything, but that's a big passion of mine is hip hop. So it's a more hip hop driven beat, and content wise, it's the main character complaining about how gigantic his penis is.
It's schlong.
It's getting in the way. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll see if I can recite the first lyrics. I believe are, "I've got a long willy. It gets on my nerves. When I do a poo, it slaps my turds."
Oh, I like it.
And then I've animated a cock hitting a shit as the shit comes down. Like,
oh yeah,
so it's that's how it starts off. So YouTube, it's not allowed on YouTube straight away. I can tell that. So one plan I have when it does get finished is to ask Pornhub very sincerely if I can have my own Pornhub account for just R-rated animation. And I'll put the first one up there as well, and see if they'll allow it. And if not that, another porn company, whatever. I'll put it somewhere where of course it's going to be 18 plus. That's the whole reason you're there. But it'll be a silly animation instead of hardcore porn.
I'd be interested to see how that goes, because
yeah,
you might be a nice guinea pig scenario for me then.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Because I got a number that aren't allowed on YouTube, so that's quite an interesting test.
Yeah, having it doesn't have to be a porn site in particular, but just a content site which is clearly 18 plus. It could be art, it could be art house, it could be porn, it could be animations, whatever. I'm sure there's a market for that kind of stuff.
Have you looked at Rumble? Because I know that's a YouTube alternative that will allow.
No, I haven't.
Like
no,
that.
Well, I mean, these are the things. We could probably chat for quite a while about that kind of stuff. But,
well, look into Rumble, because I know that they will do it. It's a place where a lot of bands.
I know Vimeo. I'm not sure where Vimeo has gone really, but Vimeo was also an option I was looking at, 10 years ago. I'm sure it's still around. They allow, risque content. Anyway, that's something again, the whole project is a little bit on pause, but it's always in the back of my head. Like, I need to get this done. There's no point quitting halfway through animating something,
And sorry, how long have you been working on it thus far, this sequel?
Well, it's obviously the first cartoon came out 13 or so years ago. I started working on it maybe a year or two after.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So almost straight away when I realized it could be a thing, I do quite a lot of projects. So I've just got other stuff that took over and, that kind of stuff. But then maybe just let it go for a couple of months and then knuckled down again, and then got probably halfway through the cartoon. I got to one particular section, which was, again, I'm howling laughing when I'm animating this stuff. It's just silly. The concepts you come up with is, yeah. Again, I'm just enjoying myself. But then I showed that to the book publisher. I was like, here's sneak peek. Here's what I've got so far. And it got to that particular point of the cartoon. And he was like, man, I don't know if we can put that in a book. Like, it kind of changed his.
It could be a pop-up book.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an idea. But he's since come around, and he's talked to me 8 years later or whatever. I'm still in contact with the company. And he's like, I've changed my whole mind about it. Just do it, screw cancel culture. It's all in fun. It's obviously just a silly, crude, dumb cartoon. It's I'm pushing buttons on purpose. It's the point,
Yes, I agree with you. That's what I do. I 100% agree with that. Screw cancel culture. Just piss off.
Yeah.
Just let us do our thing. If
Feel
you don't
free
like
to get offended.
Off.
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. You can be offended all you want, but there's boycotting or raising an issue because of something seems point.
It's just dumb, isn't it? People seem to be putting their mental strength into negative things rather than putting their mental focus into their family or things they like doing. It's
exactly right. Yeah, yeah.
Right, let's branch out slightly to other creative things you do or have done. So you mentioned your music and you mentioned rap. Do you want to give us a brief backstory there?
Yeah, sure. Again, I can shoot you a link or something after we're done and show you some stuff. But yeah, again, I started rapping. Well, I just always loved hip hop growing up. A Tribe Called Quest, Eminem is a huge inspiration, Mos Def, that kind of stuff. And just fell in love with lyricism in particular, just the way, how to rhyme complex sentences and all that kind of stuff. You know, a little bit of a arithmetic game, or, you know, it just kind of keeps the brain jogging. So I always liked doing that and trying to freestyle. And even if you were saying words that didn't make sense, but they rhymed, it still helped your brain kind of, you know, create eventually a good rhyme. So I've been doing that since I was a kid. And then my artist name I originally started was D to the Frizzle. I did it all as Snoop Doggy as I could, you know. A little, again, as a joke, a little bit like, you know, some white boy, you know, clearly grew up on black hip hop and I didn't know. Is the light on? Hang on.
I think you look a bit more red.
And then I've shortened that since to just D Frizzle because the name's still stuck and it rhymes with a lot of shit. So So I've done one music video, but I've got maybe 20 odd tracks on a YouTube channel, just audio only. But I've done the lyrics and made a bit of a, you know, audio video type of thing.
Are they available for people to buy?
No, they're all up on, half of them are on Spotify. It's all on YouTube is the main thing, because I wanted to do at least some sort of video along with it, even if it's not a proper video. It's just stock footage and, you know, a bit of silliness. But yeah, that's just a YouTube channel basically. But I still love hip hop. That's other projects that I like to do in my spare time. Cool.
And do you perform anywhere, or is it just a side thing for you?
It's a side thing for me. I've done a few performances. Always gone good. I've been on a couple of, much like this, just to kind of, I'm in, you know, I can't really show you, but I've got a microphone here and it's all soundproofed and that kind of stuff. So I've got like a little studio here, and I've done some online gigs, you know, when the pandemic was rampant and no one could go out. So, you know, live show to Perth, me featuring, and then on the YouTube channel, there's a live interview and performance of a particular song as well.
Cool. So
I don't tour or anything like that, but yeah.
That's okay. If you're interested, guys, again, check out the description. I'll put a link or two in there. Depends on what this chap sends me. Yeah. Right. Okay. So, other creative things. I did have a brief scour around your YouTube pages and your website.
The old one, the Alien Red Wolf.
Alien Red Wolf. Yeah. And there's two videos that I want to refer to here, and the first one was called "Here's a Tip." That made me laugh a lot.
Yeah. Again, so that was just a silly idea, and animation takes a long time, so I just wanted to make the quickest joke I could think of and end it abruptly. Was the idea.
It's like 6 seconds long or something.
It's about 6. Yeah. It's very It's to the point. Yeah.
We won't spoil it, but go and watch that. It's called "Here's a Tip." Again, it'll be on Daniel's YouTube site.
Just a friendly, just a friendly tip that I had.
It's very useful actually. The second thing I want to get onto is your odd facial expressions video. I enjoyed that one a lot.
Oh God, yeah. That's there's a lot of cringe on that YouTube channel. I haven't. Again, that's an abandoned channel almost. If anything, the last video would have been years and years ago. I still, you know, it's still silly, and I keep them up there for a reason because it's, you know.
I enjoyed it, by the way. It reminded me of shit I do. Yeah. Because I do weird facial expressions every now.
Yeah.
Can you do one now? Yeah. You can. Exactly. For fans of weirdness like that, again, I'm going to link to that video because I enjoyed that one. So let's move on to some other bits about general life itself. And I'm going to mention this because I'm highly interested in the supernatural. UFOs and aliens. Anything?
Love them.
Yeah.
I saw. I've seen. Oh, I would. I have seen, the classic. I've been into this quite a lot over the last couple of years, specifically. But I saw the classic saucer that everyone talks about, the silver bulbous kind of disc,
Right.
with the
Go with the
lights.
story. Do the story. Full story.
Yeah. So I remember the age. I was probably 12, maybe something like that. It was me, my mate Oliver at the time. Don't know him anymore, but that was his name, and my sister, a couple of years younger than us. We were all playing a game in his swimming pool where you just stand with your backs to the pool, and you'd throw these hoops behind you. They'd land in the pool at random, and then you've got to dive in and collect as many as you can, right? Just a random little kids game.
Sure.
Halfway through that, I think my sister was still, swimming around for stuff. Me and Oliver were outside of the pool at this point, like ready for our next turn or whatever. Broad daylight, we're both just staring at this silver, completely still. We didn't see it arrive or anything like that. It was just there. Silver, titanium-looking shiny disc, like the classic one that everyone talks about. It's like comical how much it actually looked like that, with a little, from my memory, blue and green alternating kind of lights. Like it had this kind of weird halo-ish thing around it. And then maybe stared at it less than 10 seconds, just staring at the thing, hovering, completely silent, and then it went, and just like lightning fast. You saw it just disappear into the distance. No propulsion or anything like that, just zipped away completely silently, but you saw it move. It was like a split second of just going and kind of zooming off into the distance. And me and my mate are just staring at each other like, how do we even explain this to someone? And kind of just kept it to ourselves. Like I've told a few people, but it's a story that you don't go around like, they're real, and go around ranting about it. But
that
it
was going to be my next comment on it, which is it's quite common for a lot of people to see things, right, and then instantly almost not talk about it. Whereas you'd think something massive happened.
The fear of looking crazy.
Did you see it? Oh, that's amazing. And talk about it for hours.
Well, me and my mate both saw the thing, and we didn't talk about it. Yeah. We were just like, did you just like gobsmacked,
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. So since then I've been like balls deep into, Commander David Fravor and Bob Lazar and all the stories.
All the good stuff.
All that good stuff. Yeah. A director called James Fox, I believe is his name.
Yes, I watched that the other day.
There's a movie called The Phenomenon and Moment of Contact, I believe it's called. Yeah.
I literally watched them about a week ago. Yeah, very good.
About the same as me as well. Yeah, both really well done. No, hocus pocus, extreme effects, and to make it all like parent. It's just like a couple of really, really interesting stories about real shit.
Exactly. So definitely, people, if you're listening, you're interested in this topic, it is very cool. Watch those.
I think I got his name right, James Fox.
Yeah, James Fox. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Moment of Contact and The Phenomenon. Yeah, go look them up. They are quality. Right, we've literally just come back from a break because I had to have a piss and get a drink. And
I had a piss as well.
You had a piss?
I got a drink. Yep.
Good. So that's like double whammy of drinks and pisses. Okay, so before we go into the Coit Zone, which is a strange place, let me tell you. Any other supernaturally stories you've got to tell?
All I can really say is I've been an avid and controlled lucid dreamer for a very long time. I was going to say suffered from, but I don't think it's necessarily suffering. But I get sleep paralysis almost every night. Basically,
Whoa.
it's just something I've kind of had since I was a kid, and it used to be terrifying. It's like you have this weird feeling where you sink through the bed, and it all goes. Your inner ear goes all crazy. I hallucinate all the time. But now, so when I start getting into, well, basically you can hear. I specifically can hear sleep paralysis approaching. It's like an actual weird electric sound. Yeah, like a buzz. Yeah. It's like a weird buzz, and it kind of takes over. And it kind of zaps you sometimes, and you know that feeling when you might be falling asleep on the train or whatever, and you do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's the exact moment when your brain flips into REM sleep. So it's called a hypnic jerk. That thing that you do. They believe that it was when we were, from our primitive brain, when we were in trees and you'd
That's
fall
right,
asleep
I
and
heard
you'd
that.
make sure that you're holding onto the branch so you don't, as soon as you pass out, you're going to fall off the tree. So that it's a little bit of that. But anyway, when that feeling kicks in, now I just like buckle down, like grip my teeth into it. And it goes, and you kind of like feel it approach. And then you're in a dream at that point. You've entered into sleep, but you're conscious about it. So then I like kind of jump out the bed, can kind of see myself lying there in a weird way. And then for some reason, I could jump through like glass. Glass doesn't shatter. I just go through it like a bubble, like a liquid membrane kind of thing.
So is this a lucid dream, or is this you
Lucid dream, yeah.
astral projecting, I think, coming out of your body?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've never used that phrase. That's exactly what it sounds like because it's an out of body experience. I guess it literally is that. But yeah, basically, it happens while I'm asleep in the bed, and then the dream kicks off with me in the bed, going like waking up out of the bed in a dream though. So it's kind of like it's all meta and fucking weird. Yeah. And then the first port of call for me, for some reason, is always just dive out a window because it doesn't shatter. I just go bloop and like go through it like a little membrane. And then I'm free to just run around the town and I can jump real fucking high and like scale skyscrapers and fly around and shit. And it's just an awesome double life. It's hardly paranormal. It's just fucking a reality that I experience most nights.
Yeah, I know. I've never had that experience, and I kind of want to. I tried to train my brain over a course of like a month to do it.
Yeah, I trained to do it. Yeah.
Well, I never had that ability to go past, so I sort of gave up after a month or two. But if I'd have carried on, I don't know if I'd have been susceptible to being able to do it or not. So I gave up. But
I highly recommend it. It's awesome if you can.
I wanted to
get around it.
All the stories I've heard.
I used to write DAN or Dan or Daniel or some Danny, whatever it happens to be, some variation of my name on my actual arm for months, if not years. So I was always it's like it's not muscle memory, but it's just instinct that my name is always written on my arm. So then in your dreams, they take bits and pieces from your real life. So because I was looking at my own name all the time, that started to appear in my dreams as well as just a normal everyday thing. And in dreams, the English language whatever language I presume, doesn't just read as is. It looks like AI art. It's all, it's all gobbledygook. So the fact, as soon as I look at my arm and it doesn't say DAN or Daniel or any variation of my own name, if it's just a weird blob on my arm, I know that I'm in a dream. And that kicks off lucid dreaming. So like, oh shit, this is the first time you notice it, you go, oh, that means this is a dream. And then you go, and you wake up in real life because you figured it out. So you just got to keep doing that. And then eventually go, this is a dream. Boom, let's go. Just imagine something, jump on a go-kart and fly off a mountain, whatever you want to do. Then you're in the dream and you control whatever happens.
It is a strange question that's going to sound perverted, but I genuinely don't mean it to be perverted, but it's going to sound it. If you're in this astral projection lucid dream scenario, right?
Yeah.
As a man, if you're attracted to women, say, do you go searching for that? Because that's really okay. So you keep that sort of instinct to do it. Yeah,
there's a weird. That's a very good question. That's something I probably wouldn't have brought up just myself, but it's a very true statement. There's some primal. It's like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it's a primal instinct of lust or whatever you want to call it. There is a lot of that in there because it's a free world as well. It's because you're aware that you're dreaming, right? So a lot of it's just like going around and like, oh, you want to be my girlfriend? You want to fuck her? Let's go around the bushes. And there's a lot of that. And because you're the one creating the dream, they're like, yeah, sweet, that sounds like a good idea. Instead of in reality where they're like, boo,
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah,
it's an odd scenario.
I try not to let my dreams get too perverted in that way. Again, because you're the one controlling it. There's still a mix of dream takes over versus you're in control. It's still it's all up in the air. But my focus is seeing how high I can jump or fly or get away from the earth is my main thing. So when I first started, it was just me like jumping off a one-story building, and the first time I did that, I woke up hearing the crack of my knees breaking or whatever, and I woke up jolted in bed. But then I just realized, I can just keep on practicing that, jumping off a house, and just think about softening the blow. So I jump and I go, like softly land. So I'm never hitting the ground. So you just change the way gravity works because you're in control of the dream. So you can just change physics. And so I can, it's it's wild.
It is wild. And to bring it back to sort of grounding itself, have you ever, whilst you're in this state, have you ever thought of going to visit a place that you've never been before and checking for evidence of that you've definitely been there, and then go in there in physical reality and finding that same thing you've seen?
No, that's an amazing concept. I really like that idea. It's very hard to control. I almost never control the location. Now that I've never thought about this, I've never been asked questions about this, but I never really control the location. The location's always a surprise to me, and I just figure it out while I'm there.
Yeah.
I remember one specific one where it was just, I don't know, insert alien planet here. You know, it was just a random weird planet with, like, you know, earthquakes and landslides and volcanoes. It was all just extreme terrain. I was aware that I was dreaming, but I didn't choose what level I was on or whatever, you know. So that's an interesting question. No, that's always a surprise to me in particular, is where you end up. You can kind of guide yourself through the dream, but there's a lot of storytelling that your brain makes up for you.
Well, then I wonder if that's something that you could train into future visits.
I've got the rest of my life to train it. Yeah.
It's an experiment, isn't it?
It literally is, yeah. As I said, my main thing right now is just seeing how high I can jump, and like I can get to cloud level and just like soar over cityscapes, and it looks beautiful. But I can never escape. You know, I want to be able to boost away and just see the Earth like away. The concept of gravity is even still strong within the dream because it's all we've ever known. So it's hard to get away from the concept of gravity.
Next question. Yeah. Part of this is a joke, so don't take it in any negative way. But do you ever look down in that state and you can see parts of your body? So therefore, if you can, would you therefore see a Superman cape or something? Could you dress?
Yeah, it's first person view for sure. That's how the dreams start. Is I'm lying in bed with my eyes closed, and I'm basically just seeing through my eyes and looking at the patterns starting on the inside of my eyelids.
So you could see your own hands and stuff.
So even with my eyes closed, if I do that in front of my own head with my eyes closed in pitch black, I see a version of my arm beneath my eyelids. I see where my arm would be in physical space, and that helps you get into the dream state. A little bit, yeah. I've never had to talk about this for such a lengthy amount of time, but I like keep them coming. But yeah.
Right, then the next question would be, and the reason I asked that question was because could we ever get to a point, if you believe in alien planets and previous lives and all that shenanigans, which I do, by the way, if you ever got to a point where you looked down and you didn't see a human hand, you were a different being?
I'd love that. I would. I feel this weird, the human body is literally the vessel that we just it's just the species that we are, and this is just the vessel that we're in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you eat McDonald's and you ruin it slowly. We're all kind of creeping to it. We get a decent amount of time on Earth, but it's a blip in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, we're kind of just borrowing the body for, I'm not, by the way, I grew up, I guess, religious. My parents weren't hardcore religious, but I went to a private Baptist college and that kind of stuff. So it was instilled in me a little bit. I soon quickly became, I don't want to say atheist, but agnostic. I moved away from the man-made religions, the fairy tales and that kind of stuff. But there's still, the fact that we're in a universe is in itself is outrageous. The fact that it's equally possible that the universe couldn't have ever existed, or it is. It's binary. And it just so happens that the universe does exist and we are inside that simulation, whatever it tends to be. It's mental.
It is mental. If you start really thinking about the universe and all potentialities, I don't even think our brain can give 1% of all the potentialities there could be.
Absolutely, yeah. Here's one thing that I've always thought is, if there is a question that you can muster, if there's a question that you can ask, it means there is an answer to it, because you wouldn't have bothered with the question in the first place.
Yep.
So what is the meaning of life? that does have an answer, but you're right. I think our brains are too feeble-minded to get there just yet. You know,
but here's the thing with that very question, and I don't know if this has been in any literature or films or anything like that, but
yeah,
what was your question again? Forgotten seconds ago. It was, what is the meaning of life? The meaning of life could be that there's no meaning to life.
Could be.
That
it could
is
be
one of the possibilities.
Absolutely. It could be cyclical as well. It could be, you know, the smaller you look, quantum physics and all that kind of stuff, the bigger you look, maybe those two meet at some point. It's hard to tell. You know what I mean? It could be a cyclical universe, interdimensional. And we're here doing a podcast.
Yeah, I know. And I'm just about to take us out of that mind-bending zone to go into more inane shit.
Perfect.
Because we are now entering the Coit Zone.
Coit Zone!
Right, in the Coit Zone, it's just random questions. You can give as little attention to these questions and answers that you wish, or you can expand on them. It's up to you.
Sure.
Wasps, yes or no?
Get fucked.
Get fucked, wasps. And it's the weird thing, right? Right after I wrote that question, I realised, why did I say wasps? It's because they're in your bloody animation, aren't they?
They are. Yeah. It's a titular character, that old wasp. Yeah.
Bloody pesky wasp. What is it? What's the phrase?
Let's have a look. I don't remember my
It's not pesky, it's like cheeky little wasp or something like that.
It's smelly old wasp.
Smelly old wasp.
That's me, by the way.
You have legs like that, do you?
A little bit, yeah.
Whoa.
They actually, my first draft of how I wanted to look in the book, they didn't accept at all. They're like, no, we can't do it.
What did you
have?
It
was the exact same head as I drew in that one, but there was no arms or legs, and it just was a gigantic cock from the neck down. Like, it's just me as a penis. And they're like, wait, come on, man. Yeah.
Have you ever, on side jaunt again, have you ever watched that program Naked Attraction?
No, I don't think so. No, I've not sat down and watched it.
Okay, it's a strange one if you've got access to it. I think it's on Channel 4, Channel 5 here. But anyway,
all right. Yeah.
You just mentioned
get the old VPN out. Sponsored by NordVPN.
That's it. You'll need that.
Yeah.
There's a bit in that right at the end of the program where they show a side bit of a person, then they have like just a portion. So they might have like a guy's nipples, and then underneath, like a collage, they'll have his knob or something.
Oh,
so that reminded me of that, like a head with a knob.
Oh, yeah. It's a
watch it if you can.
Collage. I will do. Yeah.
Weird. Right. Is this another strange question? Have you ever been in a tank?
Define tank.
Oh no, you define tank.
Oh right. Nope.
Nope. Okay. Next question. How tall are you?
6'6".
Why?
Chose it.
You chose it, did you?
I wanted to land on the even 6'6". Yeah.
Are you really?
I was 6'5", and then I just went. Yeah, I'm 6'6". Yeah.
Whoa, that's a big old.
I think I'm something like 198 centimeters, which is, I don't know, we're talking millimeters away from 6'6". So I rounded up to 6'6".
Yeah, I'm millimeters away from 6'6", just a shitload of them.
Thousands of millimeters, yeah.
Right, to expand on this height scenario, would you rather be a giant or a dwarf?
Giant, for sure.
And for what reason?
You know what? Can I change my answer? Are we talking right now? I change to either or. Okay. Like I've got to decide. I turn into it right now.
You don't. This question's open-ended. You can do whatever you want to the question. You can break the question if you
want.
Want.
Do I slowly? Okay, I'll try break it then. Do I slowly grow into a giant, or do I slowly reduce height into a smaller?
Have you noticed how I'm not giving any parameters to the question?
Yeah, this is.
You answer how you see fit.
I'm gonna change my answer, and I'm gonna go small person because I'm already quite tall, and I know that being any taller, it's already sometimes difficult. Certain doors I have to, duck my head through. So being any more taller than this, even 7 foot, which is still, there's probably thousands, millions of people who are around that height, right?
Yeah.
That's still a pain, I reckon, for a lot of those people. And you stand out in a crowd, and it's all eyes on you. So no, I prefer small.
So your advantage of being small would be that you don't have to crane your neck to get in the door.
Yeah, and I could fit into, like a suitcase.
Can you give me more positives of being small rather than a negative of being tall?
Positives of being small. Yeah, there's I reckon you can do more tricks if you're small. You can play tricks on people more.
Go on.
I don't know, put something in someone's pocket when they're not looking.
And I think we should end there because that's very good. Next question, salt or pepper?
It's got to be salt. I love them both, but it has to be salt.
And are you a rock salt aficionado or a basic table?
Flaky.
Oh, flaky.
Ooh.
Like your skin.
A little bit, yeah. Tasty salt.
Favorite film?
Coherence.
Oh, I've not heard of that one. What is that?
Ooh, get stuck in. I've got two favorites. Coherence is not the first one I bring up. I'll explain what it is about in a second. The other one is called The Man from Earth. And both of them are dialogue heavy. So they're modern enough films. But each one of them is basically just an intense conversation between a group of people in a sit-down scenario.
Yeah.
So coherence is let's all come round to so-and-so's house where there's a comet passing over the Earth tonight. We'll drink and get stoned or whatever and just watch this fantastic Halley's Comet breaking up over the town kind of thing. And then stories start to kick off about the last time this happened, like everyone in the town started acting weird and their phones broke and blah. And, they're all kind of telling tales. And then anyway, it all kicks off and weird shit starts to happen with that house in particular. And I don't want to get too much more into it because it just starts to unfold into just bizarreness, basically.
And
but it's riveting.
How old is this film?
I've got to say, I'm just going to look it up. I don't want to. 2013.
Oh, relatively new then.
Yeah, and then the other one is called The Man from Earth.
That sounds familiar to me.
And that one's 2007, so a bit earlier. That one's another dialogue-heavy one. The point of that one is a history teacher or a professor at a college, and he's throwing a get-together party for he's leaving the college, like he's been there for 10 years, yada yada. People start to people are commenting about how he doesn't age, like he's this beautiful constantly youngish looking man, and then and all of his friends are professors in different subjects of education, I guess. They're all from the school, so there's like somebody who's there's a scientist major, there's a historian, there's an archaeologist, and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And he starts telling a story about he's basically saying, it's hard not to give anything away. Telling a story about a fictional character that lives forever, or that has lived forever. And he's telling the story about himself. The reason why he has to. Yes. Yeah, so I mean, that's not really a spoiler. I'm sure that's in the trailer as well. But then it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And there's,
right. I will look for both of those.
They're both really good. Yeah. I like that kind of dialogue heavy, intense conversations.
Yeah, I don't mind those either. I like those. I don't think my girlfriend does, but,
No.
If I turn it on and she falls asleep, so be it,
Yeah.
So be it, Jedi. We are now leaving the Coit Zone. Right, back to normal shenanigans.
Hey!
Upcoming projects and your future. Now, obviously, you mentioned you're working on Willy Bum Bum 2 and have been for a decade.
Yeah.
What's your ETA for it, really? Or have you not got one?
I haven't bothered getting myself one. So, I don't think I'm going to bother giving you the business name, but I've got I run a business or several businesses now. I'm kicking off a couple of other businesses, all in the realm of printing, just book printing, whatever. Basically all of printing. So that's just my career now. I kind of invented it and just kind of studied business and just kind of kicked it off. So that's just the job now, and it's going well. So I kind of like the idea of releasing the cartoon just way too late in the future when it's been forgotten. You know what I mean? Like when it's it's already been forgotten. There's only me and you who still talk.
Oh
about
no,
it.
there's not. No,
You know what I mean?
Loads of people know it.
Yeah, I get emails all the time. Where's number two? Where's number two?
There you go. Yeah,
because I promised it a decade ago. So I'm almost hoping that there's no. I don't have an answer.
Right. Okay. So no ETA, but that's fine.
It will happen. I just need to figure out the best way to do it. It's not going on YouTube. I might have to release this a censored version for YouTube, like pixelate everything, so it's obvious that there's gross stuff behind it. So that'll serve as an ad, because it's not going to be a good cartoon if there's blurs everywhere. So that'll serve as an ad for the
blur.
real. Exactly. Yeah. So it's going to be terrible to watch, and I'll make a point of that as well. YouTube won't allow this. We'll be like flashing around it or whatever.
Sure.
And then the actual version will be on insert porn site here.
So essentially, your day job is your life, really, and you'll fit this sort of shit around it.
Exactly. Yeah. Same with music. Even my passion for hip hop. I've got another project again from about 13 years ago, which is IDM, electronic music, and a bunch of kind of trippy stuff. I'll link you that. That's another project I'm keen to continue with. But ever since the debut album of that project, just left it alone as well, and just let that sit there. There's a lot of that. Just project ideas, get it out the way, think of something else.
Yeah. And your job, do you like it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of like it's like my baby in this weird way. I built it from strangely nothing. I just I don't know, studied business and I got into it accidentally. I was a graphic designer and animator, originally. So helping people with graphic design was a natural job. It kind of felt pretty normal. And then I realized you're designing for print for anything. If somebody needs a logo design, they're gonna want it on a business card, So then it all trickled into print after that. And now, I've got international clients, and I do jobs for the government and big brands and all that kind of stuff. So it's all going pretty well.
Good stuff. Yeah. So that almost gives me indication to say you've got no reason to break out of that, have you? To
not at the moment.
Creativity, because you don't need to.
No, not really. And like, I also don't want to. The fact that Willy Bum Bum just exists as an entity itself, and that's it. I kind of like that as well. There's just this one little weird nugget of YouTube that, if you know, because you can't really search for it anymore. You know what I mean? It's just that one video is kind of, the URL still works, and I just like it being kind of hidden. And,
yeah.
Do you ever you find it?
Not necessarily recognized, because it's hard for people like behind an animation to be recognized, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless you're uber famous in that arena. But have you ever been like a few of your colleagues will say to some random extra person they meet, "Oh, did you know this guy made this?"
Yeah, I get that. That's the main thing. I never get visibly recognized, but it's, my family, they live in Spain, my mum and dad, so that they'll be randomly talking to their British pub keeper in, the Spanish Riviera or whatever, wherever they are, and they the cartoon in the where is fucking Paris? Well, it's fucking don't do that. They'll get into and so I get all those stories all the time. I'm like, yeah, do you know that we know that guy? And, and that's a high five for that person, not for me, but like, you fucking know that weird cunt. Yeah.
That's very Australian, that bit.
It was, yeah, just a little bit. I did English and Australian in that. Hey,
there you go.
How's it going, camp?
Yeah. Right. I think we'll end on that note, because I don't think you can beat that. Is there anything you want to plug? Is there any comments you want to leave off? Go for it.
I think we've covered quite a lot of it. I'll personally talk to you and send a few links to some of my creative endeavors, and we'll see what people think.
No worries. That's perfect. So I will say goodbye, Daniel. Thanks ever so much for coming on the podcast. Great to meet you. It was a good little conversation. So thank you.
Legend, Koit. Thanks for having us. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. To watch other episodes of KoitCast, or indeed animations I've made, click the image top middle. Click the image top left to download some of my songs, and click the image top right to subscribe to my channel. And make sure you tick that notification bell so you never miss an upload.